This is another law that's been around for a while and basically was expanded by the tax reform rules. All right, so Section 179 is slightly different from bonus depreciation in that basically there's just a dollar limitation on what you can take in terms of immediate expensing. So it's very similar to where you immediately expense the price of equipment, various types of property that you purchase, but instead of just being a percentage of the basis, you can take any dollar amount up to the limits. All right, the old limits were, well, let me show you, I've got a chart here. Let me flip to that real quick. The old limits, starting in going through 2017, the maximum deduction was $510,000. All right, and now 2018 and forward, and I don't know if we have the 2019 inflation adjustment amount yet. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I don't have it in this presentation. It's $1 million. So it effectively doubled that amount that you can take. All right, now, the only caveat to this, the only rule related to this is generally going to be for your smaller businesses, because once you have more than $2 million in the past, or this year for $2.5 million of property that is being put into service, once you get above that amount, you're no longer eligible for this deduction. All right.
You said that's based on taxable income?
No, that's the property that you put into service.
So if I put in over $2 million and $30,000, then I can't deduct anything?
You cannot take Section 179. Yes. So the question is if you put into service property over for 2019 it's going to be $2.5 million inflation adjusted. If you put into service that much property or more, then you're not eligible for the Section 179. I'm not going to repeat that. But remember, you've got the bonus depreciation. There's no limitation on the bonus depreciation, so you'll be able to take that. Mr. Kroeger, I know John's going to take good care of you on that, so he'll make sure you get your full deduction on that. But under Section 179, again, this is something that's, I think, a very positive thing, because again, kind of the small business community, unless you're running a major manufacturing type entity, you're probably not going to put more than $2.5 million of property into service with most small businesses. Now, there are exceptions. So this is a very good thing. Just real quick, going back here, again, the old law, under the old law, you had some real estate property was allowed, but nothing for rentals, and the deduction was limited to your taxable income. So in other words, you can't take Section 179 in excess of the income that you have. Yes, sir. I know they did pass the conformity law. The question was, what is South Carolina going to do with this? South Carolina does allow the Section 179, and the limits are the same, right, John? Yeah, there's no change in the limits. I think that might have been what your question was. The limits for federal and South Carolina are the same, but South Carolina does not allow bonus depreciation. So that's why we typically say, if you are eligible for Section 179, that generally is preferable because you don't have to adjust it out for South Carolina purposes. So that's a good feature. Also, something new this year is for Section 179, we are allowed to take some new real estate items for Section 179. The improvements, I think, in the past typically had been, but also there's interior improvements, but there's a new allowance for exterior improvements. And the items here, you can see your roofs, HVAC, fire protection, alarm and security systems. That's all brand new, and that was never eligible for Section 179 in the past. So I think that's a new feature that a lot of folks will be able to take advantage of.